Why is the Ministry of Culture in Peru keeping this secret, if that's what's going on? Well, that's a great question, and it has some disturbing implications, right? That the cover-up is all pervasive across all the countries. But yeah, so that was the entrance, which is all they're really allowed to share. Photo of the bottom of the second sarcophagus. Okay, all right. And here is the background of the interior part of the Citadel. The long stone was removed by the Hakeros, the tomb raiders. And I believe that slab is where the one of the bodies was found, seeming to be placed in a position of honor and maybe even reverence by the humans, if that is who built these tombs, this citadel of the Nazca beings. Here's a dried body species humanoid toad, is what it says. Now, this is all per the original video, and we don't know where they're getting all of their information. Again, I made a video on that original video a few days ago, so you can go and see that at your leisure. But here is the translation provided by Martin. Culture pre-Inca, 1200 years old. It has a skeleton covered with vegetable skin, is what it says. Coated with the powder, property of Mario. That was the one of the main tomb raiders, and I actually want to make a video or two about him. An interesting character, and he ties in with the story of Thierry Jaman, the French researcher. So yeah, here we go. Coated with the powder. Here's some skulls, or one particular skull. Species, adult humanoid toad. That's interesting. Interesting phrasing there. Measures 11 centimeters long. Culture pre-Inca, covered with vegetable leather. I'm curious about that whole vegetable thing. 1200 years old, coated with the powder. Property of Paul Ranceros. Dried body, humanoid amphibian toad of the Hyperborean era. Okay, interesting. Culture pre-Inca. It has an original and reconstructed skeleton, coated with the powder. Shown by Anthony Choi. Property of the Puno collector. Species, humanoid amphibian toad, pre-Inca. It has a skeleton covered with vegetable skin. Property of Mario. Let's see, another property of Mario. This species is reptilian, so it's not a toad. Okay, all right. They were making a distinction between different types. They all look very similar to me, or at least those do. Dried and reconstructed head. So this head has been reconstructed. Okay. All right. Well, they did a pretty good job. I don't see any seams or fissures or, no glue seeping out of cracks. Bone skull covered with vegetable leather. And property of Mario. And it is in an unknown place. So a lot of these have wound up, sadly, in the hands of private collectors. The tomb raiders sell them on the black market. And it's hard for scientists to compete with the prices available on the black market, which is really unfortunate. Really unfortunate. Again, if the Ministry of Culture in Peru knows about this and is allowing this to happen, the looting of these tombs, that is criminal. I mean, really. I mean, this is UFO disclosure. I mean, this is world-changing information. These bodies, these specimens. If they are what they seem to be, truly world-changing, and I believe they are what they seem to be. The recent research done on these has been really compelling, and it's going to take a lot of debunking to convince me of otherwise. But this is, So this piece was broken so that it was registered in the Ministry of Culture. Okay, so it was actually registered. Dried and reconstructed head, humanoid reptiloid toad. Lived in the Hyperborea era. Interesting that they're using the word Hyperborea. That is a old world term, not a new world term. So I don't know, why they're using that phrasing. That is interesting. Bone skull covered with vegetable leather. Reconstruction pre-Inca. Property of Paul Ranceros in Lima. Delivered to the Ministry of Culture. Okay, so the Ministry of Culture does have stuff. Some of the stuff was taken from museums with possibly dubious legality to Mexico to be studied by Jaime Maussan's researchers. But the Ministry of Culture wasn't doing anything with it. They weren't studying these things. They were, in fact, hiding the location where these things were taken, according to my best information. This one is described as a hybrid being. So they all look very similar, or at least the ones so far have looked very similar, but they're getting different descriptions of hybrids and reptiles and amphibians, even though they all basically seem to be of the same type. So I'm not quite getting that. This is a property of Inkari, Thierry Jaman. I hope he gets a lot more and makes these available to study. This is a hybrid being head, dried and reconstructed. Again, covered with vegetable leather. I'm really curious about that. Pre-Inca. Property of Thierry Jaman. Reptiloid toad. 1,200 years old. All right, let's move on. Okay, we got, this is, I think, one of the large hands of the possibly giant alien beings that seem of a kind with the others, even though they're much larger. They have the 3 fingers, and the very long fingers. Apparently, must have been very dexterous. Fingers, since they don't have any opposable digits. And again, this is a property of Mario. Some have 3 of these are now with Thierry Jaman, or were being studied by him. It's unclear if he owns them or not. Here's another one, Mario, shown by Thierry Jaman. Yeah, so it is still under the ownership of Mario, according to this information. Fascinating stuff. It has those the detail on the palm or on the outside of the hand. So I don't know if it's on the front or the back, but it's got that gold-looking circle with the interesting shapes in it. Some have said it resembles the watches worn by beings in ancient bas reliefs or in depictions. So it could be not a bas relief, but a drawing. Reconstructed and coating with vegetable leather with implant in the arm. Yeah, some of these have implants. Some of them even have more complicated implants with different implants, multiple implants. It represents a Hyperborea reptile. Interesting. Property of Paul Ranceros. Another Hyperborean. Body of a male amphibian reptilian. Do you guys see any differences between these specimens? I mean, I guess maybe that does look a little bit different, honestly, than some of the others. The shape of its head, but I mean, it's pretty much the same. I'm not seeing the distinction between some reptilians and some amphibians and whatnot. Now, this one looks distinctly different. Species amphibian being, same age. Your property of the Puna collector, shown by Anthony Choi. Okay, let's see. Let's just move on. We've got property of this one is very intriguing. Some have said this has been debunked. I don't know. At this point, I am wary of any debunkings of these. There's definitely some disinformation out there. But that's not to say that they're all necessarily 100% legitimate either. There are definitely hoaxes out there. And there is some BS out there. This has a skeleton and organs. And if it has organs, I don't see how that could be a fake. But, and if it, yeah. Anyway, let me know what you think. This also has skeleton and organs. This may have been one of the ones with eggs. Property of Thierry Jaman in Ankara, Cusco. Okay. Is that his institute? I'm not sure. Hybrid reptilian being. Okay, so various of the beings. This has a brain and denture coated with the powder. Property of Mario, shown by Cesar Soriano. Dried head manoid being with cranial cresca. Only 800 years old. Dark hybrid called Star Child. Inca culture, skull without jaw, being decapitated. When it says decapitated, does it mean it was decapitated in life and that's how it died? Or that its remains, its head became severed from the body? Without cranial cyst, property of Paul Ranceros, and we don't know where it is, so likely in the hands of a private collector. Star Child, very interesting, and this one does look distinctly different from the others. This does not seem to necessarily be of the same race as those others. This one looks more human. Very interesting. Unknown head, dark hybrid with snout. Interesting. Unknown property, unknown year's age, shown by Thierry Jaman. That's as close as I can get to pronouncing his name correctly. Dried head, Hyperborea, without limit year's age. Brain and denture, coated with the powder. Property of Mario. All right. Small humanoid toad skull, shown by Inkari. And this is what they may have looked like. Interesting. Looks about right. And complete lungs of non-human organism. Dried lungs, unknown species. Property of Thierry Jaman. Unknown DNA. Okay, so they have done DNA samples according to this. The dried lungs. So if these are the lungs, I'm very curious if this means they were removed in some sort of mummification process, because there was that American paleontologist that studied some of these specimens, and he concluded that the ones that he had studied, or some of them, there had been a deliberate mummification process. We're removing the organs, wrapping them in wrappings, just like with the Egyptian mummies, which is really intriguing, if true. I haven't seen any corroboration of this deliberate mummification process. But if the organs have been removed and are separate from the body, that's where my mind goes. But let me know what you think. Non-human organs, unknown age. Okay, very interesting. Unknown DNA, again. Unknown age, unknown species. So these are the organs of these beings. So that really does make me think, again, of this idea of deliberate mummification. So did the beings practice mummification, or did the local humans mummify them? And, again, you're not going to mummify a doll. So, if they were actually mummified, then that is conclusive proof that they were living beings. Petra's dried body, tridactyl toad, humanoid hybrid with its organs. 1.68. It looks a lot like Maria, but of a little bit different. A little different. Embarkation was to Brazil via Arequipa. Destination Russia, unknown owner. So it went to a private collector in Russia. Okay, that's certainly the best place for it, right? That's where the best place for all of these guys, private collectors, where nobody will ever see them or be able to study them. Unless, of course, the private collectors are doing their own research, which, maybe some of them are. Who knows? Who knows? Maybe the control group is buying these things up so that nobody can study them. But, if anybody is doing research outside of who we've seen, they're not public about it. They're not public about it. And this is Maria, a hybrid with its organs. So, so if some of them were mummified, why were some of them deliberately mummified with their organs removed and some of them not deliberately mummified with their organs removed? Maybe they were stored at different times and different local human cultures practiced, different practices. And this is the property of Mario. Is Maria still the property of Mario? I'm not sure. I'm not sure how current these ownerships are. Child dried body, Wawida. Humanoid hybrid with its organs, 1.68 meters in height, 1,250 years old, pre-Inca, non-human DNA, property of Mario. Living being, reptilian, green color, young, photographed in one of the caverns in Nazca. Video and photos shown by Marcello Laren. Preserved body of being, blue humanoid toad tridactyl in clothing of gold. Hakeros property. Sail abroad through Brazil via Arequipa. Photo with clothes and without clothes. And this is one of the most fascinating pictures to me, showing one of these beings apparently, wearing a golden headdress and golden breastplate and armbands, and it's got something down there. I don't think there's a full body picture, or at least maybe we'll get to it, showing the kilt or whatever it's wearing on its lower part. Did these beings really wear these clothes? Did the local humans put these clothes on them after they died? Again, in part of some sort of mummification ritual, some sort of burial ritual. Did it actually wear those clothes? Because in some of the tapestries we've seen, they are wearing clothes like that. And here is a close-up of the breastplate. Pure gold, and according to this, it is pure gold. Is that real information? Is it not? I don't know. It is being marketed by the Huaqueros of a ufology on a ufology website. So they're trying to. If you want to buy an alien breastplate, guys, now's your chance. Guys. Let's see, gold ornament on the head of the underground Citadel. Sail abroad by Brazil. Okay, Europe destination. Great. Okay, so so I guess. Oh, here we go. Okay, here. Yeah, you can see the kilt. Very good. Or whatever, the skirt, whatever you want to call that. But so my understanding, based on this, is that the ornaments are being sold separately to different people in different parts of the world. Removed from the body. What a waste. What a shame that all of these bodies are going into the hands of private collectors and the black market. Who knows what else? Some of them are being studied by people like, are being shown by people like Thierry Jaman. He's the one who presented those three hands, and he's the one who originally got his hands on these bodies. And I'm not sure if we would have known about them without Thierry Jaman. And I'm going to make a separate video about him and a breakdown of some of his work and his findings, and another video and as a breakdown whose translations are provided by Nicholas. So a hat tip to Nicholas, and a big hat tip to Martin for creating this video for us. I am just so grateful for that. That is awesome, because I made this video the other day, and I wasn't able to tell you what any of this was or what it meant. So now we have this translation, and it is amazing. I am very intrigued and curious and puzzled by some of the translations, like Hyperborean. I mean, that is That is not a South American word. So what does that mean? Where did that information come from? Are they just trying to say it was very old? You know, what, because they've given the dates for these. So that doesn't quite make sense either. I'm also going to talk more about the weird manuscript that was shown. That doesn't seem to be ancient, but it is very strange. But I'll talk more about that in a separate video. Let me know what you think about these photos from the tomb, the Citadel of the Nazca beings. Let me know what you think about it all. And everybody say thanks to Martin. Please give this video a big thumbs up. I sure appreciate it. Smash the subscribe button and the bell to be notified of future videos. You don't want to miss a thing. Join me on social media. There's Facebook and Twitter links below. And if you wanted to support Cosmic Road in an even bigger way, please consider becoming a channel member or buying a t-shirt. There's plenty of other videos to check out on the channel. And I'll see you guys next time. This is Jack with Cosmic Road, signing out.